The NM116 Panzerjäger on World War II mode is quite possibly one of the most outrageous tier 8 tank destroyers in the game, if not probably my favourite tier 8 tank destroyer in the game, primarily because of one thing, and that is the damage per minute that this thing will rinse out. And it was available as part of a season pass recently where you could get it for free. Although you still have to pay for the season pass. You get my drift. You could get it as part of the season pass and get your gold value back. So it was essentially you didn't pay anything for the tank. But the great thing about this tank is the crazy high DPM that it does get, alongside crazy camo, crazy mobility. The only negative of this tank, in my opinion, is the fact that it doesn't get a whole lot of armor. And that is basically the only negative. But the damage, the heat round penetration that you get on this thing is crazy good. Like, we're talking the pinnacle sort of level of penetration that a tier 8 tank destroyer can achieve that has such a low caliber and such kind of a decent damage as well, with 280 damage per shell, and you're reloading in approximately 4.5 seconds. You can just melt through people in a matter of seconds. And so, yeah, especially when you start using your enhanced combat rations, you can boost that even further. And you can see here, going for a shot on the cupola of the T54E2. The accuracy of this tank also is ridiculous. We are now going for a little tracking shot on the T32. So we do hit that. We're now going to go for another tracking shot. Unfortunately, it doesn't damage and actually track the T32. But the reload speed of this tank is so good that we can actually reload before he can pull all the way back. And that means we can keep him perma-locked down. And unfortunately for him, that is his end of his game. We now have the T54E2, who thinks he can come up from behind our team. Unfortunately for him, that is not going to be today. And now we can push on down into the main bowl. So with the amount of damage we've done, we've basically done 2 damage for every hit point of our vehicle, which is a good indication that you've had a okay game, or like a good game. Most people would be pretty happy with this sort of result if the game ended right here. But of course, we are not most people. We want even more damage with this thing, and that is what we're chasing. So how do we get more damage at this stage in the game? Well, it's by outflanking people and finding different spots which we can pop up and deal damage, like here. This is a nice little spot that we can use. The only issue is, of course, there is a tank destroyer at the back which could hit us, so I'm a bit wary of that. It's a Ho-Ri one, which we're hoping to get a shot into here. Unfortunately, there is something in the way, which means we can't get a shot into him, and then he goes undetected. So I have no idea where this guy actually is. Probably by a building. He's slightly over to the left of where I was looking there. But we're up to 2.9k damage. The game is in our favour on terms of hit points. It's just they have got the tank advantage. So we should be able to still win. There's a TNH over here. I go for an auto aim on the AMX65T, hoping that it would hit, because we didn't want to crest too high. And we land the shot there to take him out of the game. And now we've got this TNH who is pushing up. Let's see if we can get one into him, which we do. We pull back down because it has one more shot. Let's put our commander back in. And so now I am playing it safe. I don't want to take another hit from him because that will put us on a one shot from everyone. We take out the Korean pattern there, and then it's just time to go over. We land one into this guy and he's gone as well. So let's now get back into cover, back to where we came from. And that should give us a bit more cover now. Now there is an SU-130PM in their base, or in our base, or shall we say, who's pushed to take out a leopard here. But we found ourselves a little Goranich, so let's see if we can land one into him. Not fully aimed, of course. Why would we want to do that? And we take him out for the 5th enemy taken out today. And then there is this SU-130PM. Can we get to him before the Ragnarok? I don't think so. And we don't. Now we're going to aim at this T92, which we do manage to hit. And can we hit him again? No, we can't. But Can we hit him for the final enemy taken out in the game? Yes, we can. And there you go, 4.3k damage in a very, very quick fashion with this tank. So an epic victory. Obviously, nearly 2,000 base XP with 4.3k damage. 6 enemies taken out. Not a bad result by any means. And of course, how much silver did we make? Well, we made 267,000 with a double silver bonus on the tank. So very, very good amount of silver that this tank does actually earn. But let's jump into the next game on Thiepval Ridge to see whether or not we can still continue this route. So jumping into Thiepval Ridge, where do we take a tank like this? Well, we want to be in a somewhat covered position, but having lots of opportunity for different shots. That's what you're kind of after. You don't want to be corner fighting. You don't want to be limited by having to poke out at tanks to deal one damaging shot of 280 damage. It can be done, but it's just not ideal when you have no armor. So the best thing to do is to put it into more of a flanking position slash mobile position where you can get shots on multiple different people and just open up lots of different angles, because then you can keep that main armament singing the entire game. So that's kind of what we're after with the Panzerjäger, similar to what you would expect with something like a Hellcat. It's basically like a tier 8 version of the Hellcat on absolute juice. So we've got an AMX, a Kanonen Jagdpanzer, which of course goes absolutely nowhere near him, and then he gets hit by the bar. I mean, it's nice to see a bar actually getting rewarded for once. We know about the bar plays. We go for a shot on the T92, which we hit. Very nice. And we've got a shot on the BZ here, which we do land. And so, not a terrible start to the game. Of course, the heat round penetration, I think, is over 300 on this tank. Is easily able to go through the turret of some of the heavy tanks in the game as well. And so it's just farming simulator at this point. BZ166, we did manage to pen him with a very lucky shot on the move. So I'm not going to complain about that at all. We then have an APMX who we're going to have to go for the shot on because he's going to pull back down. It didn't go anywhere near, but that's okay. And now we can start to push up. Now there was a tank to my right over here, which I'm a bit concerned about as to what it could be. But we're going to make the move anyway, otherwise we're going to run out of damage and tanks to actually hit. So we've got to make that move right now. And it is a G-Saw 1008. So let's see if we can get a couple into him. And that should open up the game a little bit more. So the G-Saw is about to get spotted, and there he is. So let's land one into him. Of course, he snapshots me there, but it doesn't matter. Let's hit him again. And he is now gone. So we traded 1 for 2, which is not terrible, but ideally wouldn't have wanted to take that hit. Probably shouldn't have been hit by that. But, you know, auto-aim on this game is crazy. I mean, we take use of it as well, so we can't complain all too much. There's now an IS-2 out in the open, ready for farming, and it is just farming simulator. We've got him locked down as well, so it's just curtains for him. But at this point, what do we do? Well, we could go for that guy, but he gets taken out and he's on no health. So I'm kind of thinking, can we spot anything out in the open? We want a tank to be out in the open or to be able to farm. So I'm thinking, okay, so 2 tanks are spotted. I'm never going to get there before they get kind of just overwhelmed and swamped by a team. So let's try figure out where the rest of the enemy team are. And that's exactly what we do here. We find a heavy tank in the base, obviously where you want to be in a heavy tank in this sort of matchmaking, you know, right at the back in your base, basically. I mean, that's a very good use of a heavy tank, to be fair, sniping at the back in the base. I'm sure he had lots of damage in this game. We do spot a little Lorraine here, which let's see if we can get another shot into him. Yes, we can. We got him tracked as well, so that's always nice. Can we get another one? Yes, we can. The Goronich here. I'm actually going for our friend in the Ho-Ri there. The Goronich is, of course, looking at me, but then switches to our teammate, and he looks like he wants to just YOLO me, but unfortunately for him, we land another shell into him. It did appear like he had 2 marks on his tank, but we land another one into him, and then it's just constant damage output with this tank, and yeah, we landed another one. 4.16 thousand damage with 500 assists, so about 4.6 thousand combined damage with the tank, which is a pretty decent game. 3 enemies taken out with 1679 base XP, and once again 220,000 silver earned as well. This tank is just printing silver. There is no other operations on that is boosting the silver. That is just the base value with a ×2 silver booster. So very, very good money earner, this one, especially when you're having such good games overall and on average with the tank. So that is the NM116 Panzerjäger. Once again, one of the most OP, disgusting vehicles out there. That probably shouldn't be at tier 8 and more like a tier 9, tier 10 vehicle with slightly more hit points. Probably would still be fairly balanced. But that being said, hopefully you enjoyed. Once again, like the video if you did, and of course subscribe down below if you want to see more World of Tanks console videos, and I will see you there. Goodbye.